For those of you who voted and don't know why you voted for or against the selected president, and I'm talking about most voters, especially the African American, you don't know why you voted. You think that the selected president is going to do something to benefit you. You hope that selected president is going to do something for you. This has been the way it is since 1865, when you thought that Abraham Lincoln freed you. It's not only you that fell for this trick. Every black man in the world. I mean, look at what happened to Barack Obama. He was welcomed by black people who thought that the second coming of that fella had arrived. But look carefully at this. As Rubio calls Biden national security team polite and ordinary caretakers of America's decline. If you ask black people in America or throughout the world, black people in general, what they think about America's decline. America's decline. What are you talking about? America is a superpower. No, decline. But this fella here, Marco Rubio, in the state of Florida, this is what he said. Biden's election will be polite, orderly, and ordinary caretakers of America's decline, criticizing their professional credentials and Washington bona fides. Rubio sits on both the Senate Foreign Relations and Intelligence Committees. Biden's cabinet picks went to Ivy League schools. All of them. It doesn't matter, Republican or Democrat. If you have 10 secretaries, 8 went to Ivy League school. Basically, the same Ivy League school. The economics guy may come from Chicago or there's one other school too. But they all come from Ivy League schools. State. A lot of them went to Oxford and Cambridge. All Ivy Leaguers. Biden's cabinet picks went to Ivy League schools, have strong resumes, attend all the right conferences, and will be polite and orderly caretakers of America's decline, he tweeted. I support America's greatness, and I have no interest in returning to the normal that left us dependent on China. What this Republican will not tell other Republicans is that that so-called normal was not started by Democrats. The Democrats didn't bring China to the table into the World Economic Forum. They didn't do that. You have to go back to a decision made Well, they started making a decision in the Eisenhower years, but the final decision, the final decision was made at the end of the Johnson years, and so by foreign policy, they ended the war in Vietnam and brought China to the table. America's decline did not begin with Obama, though they will love you to believe that. But it didn't begin with Obama. America came out of World War II the strongest nation among the world's top nations. But by 1968, the cracks had become so big that they had to look for another avenue, another path to drag you down. Took you off the gold standard, brought China in. Started pulling wages down in America. If you look at what was happening after World War II, or well before World War II, you see that black people, black men especially, were coming into jobs and being brought into the workforce. A lot of black men moved from the South. Black people moved from the so-called South to California, Chicago, Indiana, places where jobs were plentiful and the pay was almost equal to that of white men. The factories of GM and Ford paid everybody almost the same wage. So you began to see a black middle class. But by 1968, things had begun to change for America already. And by 1971, Nixon had made the decision. Nixon had been told, get off the gold standard to make the American dollar the standard. And when the dollar became the standard, then they went after the oil everywhere on the planet. And once the oil was made, let's say, the British at the time had Iraq and Iran and a lot of the Middle East oil producing nations. By 1973, they had sunk the British pound and put the dollar in its place. A lot of people don't read about the guns of 73. That wasn't, you should read about it. You should read about the guns of 73. Our America sunk Britain and the pound and raised the dollar to the standard of world trade. If you wanted to buy or sell anything like oil, commodities, any kind of commodities at the time, now almost everything is a commodity, including your birth and your death. But at the time, what they considered commodities were things that come out of the ground and food that was grown, like rice and barley and corn. They made the dollar a trading currency, which kept America at the top. But now other nations are beginning to find ways around the dollar trade, which is accelerating the decline of America. Hence, you see the wars in the Middle East, Venezuela, South America. Wherever commodities are, that nations are now saying, you know what, we're not trading in dollars, then we're not trading through Citibank or through Bank of America. We're not sending our products to their warehouses before it goes on the world market. We're going to trade directly to China or Russia or whatever the case might, whatever nation they want to trade with, which is accelerating the decline of America. People, this thing is only going to get worse. Rubio is telling you he is not going to accept an orderly decline. What Trump did was try to change that orderly decline. And you can see what we are having right now. The trade war was not accidental. But the Democrats didn't have the hand. They tied their own hands behind their back, so they couldn't fight Trump for the last 4 years. Now, after they get the Senate, they have a stronger hand, but the decline will continue. And if they don't get the Senate, they cannot manage it. The Republicans are going to accelerate the decline. They don't realize it. Rubio don't realize it, but he's going to accelerate the decline. Just like how this selection process helped to accelerate the decline by people seeing how America is operating. The world is watching the politics of America and say, hey, we can't depend on America. Look what they're doing. They can't tell us what to do. We don't even have to worry about them. Don't send any monitors to our country because you can't even handle yourself. So the decline is going to accelerate and it's going to get nasty. So you people, brothers and, well, the women are already changed sides. So for black men, brothers, prepare yourselves. Black people throughout the world, prepare yourself. You don't have very long. It began a long time ago when you didn't notice, and you're still not noticing it. 99.9% of you are not noticing it. You better start looking at these things carefully. Until next time, pick up a paper, learn to read, prepare yourself. Take it easy.